You thought they were done, you thought their fate was sealed, but instead Lotus found the roots of the problem and they completely wrapped around it and sucked the life out of Fate. And now here we are, map number 2 of Ascent. Lotus are up 1-0, Sparky.
Yeah, I'm excited. We do have a new face here. It is Anton. He is back for map 2 and possibly map 3 if we do end up going to it. But man, this has been an absolutely insane series so far. 14-12 in our first map after a 9-3 halftime with Fate. They look so dominant in the beginning. They just had some trouble closing out their game. Let's see what happens here on Ascent. We are in Agent Select. I almost said Champion Select. This is not League of Legends. Um, but yeah, going into Ascent, I really expect to see maybe like that Omen, maybe like that Astra. Probably not going to see those Vipers that we saw in Breeze, although they had so much of an impact. And crits again on this Sky. I want to see more of those clips of crits just unloading his entire kit onto enemies and then just peeking and killing everyone.
Yeah, that's honestly a good thing. I think that's exactly what they need as well, because you mentioned before, bit of trouble closing for Fate. I mean, that's a bit of an understatement, right? Because it was, what, 12-3, I'm pretty sure? Lotus came back all the way, and I honestly, I didn't think it was even realistic at that point. I looked, and at least it was 9-3, I know the first half. Every single round that Fate lost was a round that they tried defaulting. Every round that they ended up going 5-man into a site, it just worked. I think honestly, the story of that map was skill diff, but like you mentioned, they could not close. Every single time Lotus managed to get a grasp on a round in the second half, they carried it all the way through. Very well done to them. And we'll see. I'm surprised that Lotus aren't going for those more individual picks. They have the Astra, which is, I mean, smart. Astra is probably one of the best agents on Ascent right now. They have a Cypher. They've got crits, of course, on the aforementioned Sky and Otter as well. With that team play on the Sova, they have double initiating comp, and Myth is the only one with that selfish agent on the Jet. But I mean, he did so much work as well. He was following up Flavor last round. Flavor was above and beyond. Just so much impact on that Viper. It was unbelievable. You don't expect your controller to be able to do that much work, but he's pulling a mixed spell in terms of numbers there, and they still couldn't end up closing. It's at the end of the day, Fate didn't have the individual power to be able to win out the fights in the second half. They did in the first, but that's because they were able to just barrel on to every single site that they had. And this time, they've got to be able to actually close, because I have confidence that they are able to do that again and again. Because I mean, the Fate or Fate, right? They're so good at the game already. But once more, they have to continue when they don't have the option of all being there on one site. They can't gamble stack every single time on defense, right? So we'll see. This time they are on the defense. They'll be starting on their weaker side. And we're looking so below. He's no longer on the Jet. He's actually on the Reyna. Didn't have the best performance last map on said Jet, so I'm surprised still putting him on that agent to be able to do all the work by himself. We'll see how much he can find with this single sheriff that's on the server right now, because he's the only one that's gone for that investment. First fight, though, is on Cat, and it's speaking of the Jet, is going to be taking those duels, and seems like a Myth is stuck. Hold on a second, what is that dash? I don't think that's intentional. Roy and a Myth both get kills right off the bat.
Yeah, and now Posh is the only one on site. Everyone just rushing through. Let's see how the actual smoke works out. No, Posh isn't able to play around the angles just enough. Door opening back up. Cringy can't find the shots, and down goes Fate. Some aggression towards mid there. It's not working out as the bullets didn't land, and Lotus just take over the entire map going on through there. First round going to Lotus. They'll be able to buy up into this next round. And actually, it looks like they're not going to, sticking with those pistols and a Spectre. Only on one person. Yeah, that has to be a misclick. There's no way you just dash into 3 people pushing you over on catwalk.
Yeah, absolutely. That is super unfortunate, and that gives Lotus not only the first round, a team ace. Everyone gets their money. Everyone gets to buy a Myth. Of course, he wants that off. Going to be saving with the single sheriff on the team, but it's fine. There's 5 pistols on Fate, right? Shouldn't be too much of a danger. Even they're not even stacking up Fate. They're defaulting across the map towards A, and the Sova is kind of floating around both the sites, but they're giving it up right now. Upcat goes crazy. Roy takes out his clone in terms of the other Astra, and then goes to Smokes. There goes all the delay. Flavor's last live on the site, but he's not long for this world. One player inside A main at least gets 1 kill, but again, that's okay. It's not exactly living up to his name. 2 versus 4. Maybe the pistol is able to find a few kills. Sobelow's got 1, able to get closer with the dismiss, but shouldn't be long once again. Crazy Roy ending with 3, with the frenzy at the end of the day, and Lotus still flawless in this map.
Yeah, not the worst in terms of econ damage being done towards that save round. Two people go down. Looks like we are going to just have the full bonus round. So even the two people who did end up buying, they're just going to stick with some pistols, make sure they can buy into that next round. And now, the storyline has flipped a little bit. Instead of going for the round win, pretty much on this bonus round, you mostly want to just go for that econ damage. Not really slated to win this next round. Although if a couple of guns are recovered and the way that Fate are playing so far with kind of more individualistic, not trying to trade each other out as much, maybe some guns could be recovered. That's an interesting shock dart lineup. Not going to find A That's Okay, who was actually forced to give up the angle since so much pressure was put towards mid. Maybe if Lotus play a little bit slower in the future, they can actually use that double shock dart lineup better.
Was that a headshot? I think that was a dink through the wall so below. He's just so low he's gonna go down. Crits all along into the A site. Both of them going through, but Cringy almost lands the double spray, but instead through the wall. 2 kills from the defense for a trade at least in between. So still at 3 versus 3, even on the man count for the time being. But the plant has gone down, so time pressure now on the defense of Fate. Need to come back into this round, at least try to win it, because once more, it was the bonus. Fate have the chance. They have the guns to work with. Now 2 pistols on the side of Lotus. How much can they find? 1 player back sight, but the first fight is going to be taken by a myth. He loses it, but Otter has a perfect flank. 1 versus 1 now on the spike site. For working around all the smokes. Classy plays it perfectly. Lotus with a 3rd round.
Yeah, Lotus there coming up big. That flank was huge from Otter, getting the Sheriff shots in. Sheriff, it's not the best gun in the world, but when you're not looking in its direction, it can definitely be deadly. Didn't even have to put Classy in that clutch scenario since he was the only one with a rifle in the end. And that means it's back towards that half by 4 Fate. A Marshal, a Spectre, some light armors on the board. Again, econ damage is pretty much the name of the game since it's going to be hard to win around with these guns.
And just to speak it for a second, I mean, you got to admit the morale for Fate, it's not going to be good. Not only did they just lose the bonus round, right? That might be a bit small, but they got pretty much swept on that first map of Breeze. They had that in the bag. Match point for oh so long. And it could just not close. It just didn't happen. They've lost the opening pick in round number 4 already, and Posh up close with a pistol. I mean, he's going to try to find something. The drone's not going to be looked past just for the time being, but the rest of these players on Lotus, they're just going to want to run right in. No chance for Posh to even find a single kill. There's a Bucky inside of mid, but I think it's a right click and a miss a myth just for the time being. I can't believe he gets that kill. That's absolutely unreal. Burns the dash. Troy, at least he takes the shot, fading away from the heaven position, but they're getting flanked. Cringy knows that there's one behind, and it's a 1 versus 5. 3 players extremely low on health, but can't even find a single head. He gets the first. Pistols on to try and hunt, but it's crits with the rifle to clean him up.
Yeah, just that individualistic play from Fate not really working out. Everyone's just a little bit too on their own, and oh man, that clip. I think that just shows how bad the Bucky is right now. He hit a head dink from that range, and I think only did like 20 or 30 damage, and still wasn't able to clutch it up. But now, finally, Anton, everyone in this server has a rifle. It's equal firepower on both sides. The only thing is the ultimates are being built up now. Everyone's getting a little bit close, and especially with something like a Killjoy lockdown for a retake, that could be huge in order to try and push away those post-plant positionings from Lotus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is their chance, right? Like you mentioned, first round with the rifles, and if they lose, it's a bit of a disaster. They're gonna have absolutely no money in the bank, and Lotus probably maxing out on 2, if not 3 other players. This is a turning point, if anything, for Fate. And speaking of turning point, maybe a myth looking to turn some heads because he's right into the site. He's trying to hunt the player that's in Gen. Doesn't even need to be him to get the kill. That's okay, gets a trade, but a myth swivels right back and receives that one from Dice, and looks like he's rolled a good one because he's up. Maybe even to try and get some more kills up in heaven, but he runs out of bullets just the wrong time. 3 versus 3, at least damage done enough flavor, no heals available. There's a dart, utility going back in to try for this retake, and the flash though from Crits, it's so good, it is flawless. Now it's all up to Killjoy. Cringy, maybe looking to make something happen, gets the first, up to 2 right now, and this one ult, that's not exactly what you want to do, but Cringy turns his back, is a bit distracted by that, and it's still Lotus flawless with 5-0.
Yeah, Lotus are really, using their aggression well. They're using it towards mid to get space, and it really feels like Fate just aren't set up to deal with it. So they put both of their duelists towards mid. They're pretty much trying to fight aggression with aggression itself. Only problem is, you're not winning the gunfights on the duelist. That's just going to make your mental even worse, especially from last game. And I think you can really see just how, the strats are kind of breaking down for Fate. They're not able to really get those trades in that they need to. It's just them dying on the side, like everywhere on the site itself.
Yeah, that's exactly what Lotus needed, right? That's the thing that prevented them from winning probably enough rounds in the first half of Breeze to actually not get them to overtime because they ended up winning the map, of course. So the warm-up worked. Whatever they did, it ended up in their favor, and now it looks like it's just all them right now. Lotus has absolutely just manhandling Fate. There's a trade, but the knives only get a single one. There is no Sage, not able to bring that ultimate back, and even the detection is going to drive this player off the cat, plant down inside a B site, and even peeks all the way from spawn on B to the ramp. That's unreal. Otter gets flavor all the way up at the top ramp, and the last player has made his way all the way back into spawn, and the headshot lands, but Roy's got the better Astra in this engage. 6-0. Lotus looking impeccable, even better than Fate did in the first half of Breeze.
Yeah, there's the person at the top of the leaderboard for Fate right now is only on 3 kills compared to pretty much everyone on the other team for Lotus are around 6 to 7. That's just pretty much a team diff at this point. Something's got to change for Fate, and I really think they just need to have a little bit more in the strat book, a little bit more of coordination, since it really feels like they're taking on these fights one by one, and it's usually like a 1 versus 3 that they're peeking into. Lots of ultimates on the board here, most notably that lockdown and Otter. Unfortunately, that's a wall that you're shooting through, buddy, and that makes your bullets do a little bit less damage. So Sobolo is actually going to be able to heal up for... No, Sobolo didn't heal up for that. So he's actually at a pretty low HP range. Lotus getting shot through the smoke as well. Maybe they finally found their round to win on the side of Fate.
Perhaps some deja vu as well. And this is kind of how it looks, right? In the first map, it's 6 rounds for Fate, and Lotus ended up bringing at least 1 back. So the Fate end up finding the same fate. No pun intended. That's all up to these players. Sobolo gets finished off, right? 1 versus 3 on this A site. Posh, good for a single headshot, and a second, not the spray down. Yet again, speaking of 1 versus 3s, here we go once more. 40 seconds for crits to work with. First headshot, not even gonna land. That's okay. He cleans it up. And yeah, just like the first map, it's 1-6 in favor of Lotus, but this time it's backwards.
Yeah, guns still be able to bot up from either side, but what is that in Amit's hand? I saw him bot it. He just sold it. I want to see it come out again. I want to see that operator. He was so strong with it on Breeze. He was able to get those opening picks for his team. Arguably a lot harder to play that aggressive op on Ascent since it's just so much smaller. People are a little bit more used to it, and looks like he's not going to end up doing it. But I'd be interested to see when he really brings that gun out there. Thank you so much, Necrox, for shit. I love those sprays. Here in Valorant, but lots of ultimates on the board here. Again, Cringy is sitting on that lockdown. If the plant goes down, if Cringy is alive, that should be a pretty easy retake situation. So he's got to stay alive.
That might be a bit of a struggle staying alive. Flavor's not able to do that. That's okay, still on the site. At least the B site was stacked, but are they going to check? They are. Classie's got the kill, falling to the sky. Cringy's got at least 1, but Emith's got the instant trade as well. And 30 seconds elapse. 4 players already dead. Make that 5 now. Otter tried on the lurk, but nothing to be found. And the last player still inside of A main is going to make their way all the way back. Still man advantage for Lotus, which means that player needs to at least participate in the round. And maybe Fate try and go for this because they know that this has been damage done. The Jet is very, very low in health, but so below. Might he get timing? He does get caught just for the time being, but the flash is not good enough. Oh, the turn is though. Emith is so low in health. It works. Sobolo is not going to have full HP. He's going to be cut off from that heal just for a little bit. And now Classy pressured so hard on the site. He's got no bullets. Needs to switch to the pistol. Doesn't do so. Sobolo's got that kill as well. Now the heal is out. And even the headshot angle. He's got the so perfect triple kill for the Reyna to come back into this retake. And they've got so much time for this defuse. Fate with now their 2nd in a row.
Yeah, I think you can really just see so below there with this initial peak. He pops the ultimate. I feel like he saw the person, maybe just didn't register in the mind. And this flash timing was just literally so perfect. I think he got brought down to 10 HP in the end
Two
and
health,
wasn't
two
able to
health.
finish. 2 health. Okay, 2 health and wasn't able to finish off that kill. And
Oh,
just the momentum from there was crazy. 2-6 in this game. Everyone's got a rifle in this next round. And I want to see Fate use these ultimates. Cringy's had this lockdown for 3 rounds in a row. You got to be expending them because if you're trying to wait for that perfect moment, these are just rounds where you could be building this ultimate back up again, and you could just
mhm.
have more ultimates in the game in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm surprised that they have two ults too, not even just Cringy, but Posh also holding onto that wall. I mean, fair enough. I guess if you don't really want to use it in that retake, you don't need it, but we'll see how many rounds Fate can rack up because Lotus, they've got so much in the bank. And literally and metaphorically, they've won so many times in a row that they've been able to build up basically 4 losses and they still have full rifles. They could lose this round. They could not get a single kill, no plant, and they're still good on the bank for next. So Fate need 4 in a row before they even start to break Lotus.
Yeah, it's well, complete mid control was taken. The dog sound cues were given, so trying to bait a rotate towards A, but Faye have read into this. There's 3 people stacked on this B site. So much utility spam through the smoke in and of itself, and Umith tries to go aggressive, make space for the team, but the bullet spam is too good. Everyone's being shot through the smoke, and now there's only 2 people left for Lotus.
This should be unrealistic. So below is on the flank, and he doesn't manage to get a kill. And it's 30 seconds, so technically it is possible, but gun out. Clazy needs to be ready for this angle, and he even smokes it just to make sure no one crosses through. That's very, very smart, but the thing is, they're being cut off. The race, it's been beaten. Fate's already on the site. They do cut off the rotation. Posh on the solo lurk, but the plant is going down. Cringy not able to stop it, so still on for the 2 versus 3. Ultimate though, this is what you were talking about. This is what they were saving it for. The perfect round, the perfect moment. Let's see, balls of steel. Clazy is so confident, hiding at the back of sight, but he's got no time to work with. He needs every single one of these frags, and it's just not gonna happen. That's okay, gets the turn. That's a 3rd round in a row for Fates.
With how bad it was looking towards, the middle of the round with 3 people from Lotus going down, it still got a little bit dicey in the end, made it a 1 versus 2 to end it out. But Fate able to clutch it up in the latter half, finally using that lockdown. I agree with it. It's a good place to use it. Maybe even use it a bit sooner there just to prevent the plant itself and maybe save yourself $300. But hey, you won the round. It's okay. Everyone still has that rifle. A-okay though. Has an operator in his hands. They have a lot of util on the side of Lotus to deal with it, though. They have 4 ultimates. All of those can really be used to either find out that operator or just cut off the sightlines or deal with her.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really good that Fate are looking this good so far. 3 rounds in a row, and if 6 rounds, Lotus, I mean, fair enough, right? This is Fate's weaker side, and now they start to come back, and this is important because this is what they need, maybe, to close. And now, Hunter's Fury coming on. Is that Otter on with a kill, of course, taking the player off of the A side. That's the only player here on the defense. They got a 2nd pick across the map as well, just to draw some attention. And now that's okay. Needs to worry about that. So below, walking through the smoke, and he gets 2 with the spray down. Just misses out. Not enough bullets to kill the 3rd. And now it's a 2 versus 3. Fate still disadvantaged, but that Reyna did so much on the spike site. They're going to try to do this again. Another clutch on the A side. Great headshot. A 2nd one through the wall for Cringy. Now all that's alive is that's okay. Switches out the off. It's so doable. There is so much time to work with. Crits knows that this player is up in the heaven position. Hayasoki needs to drop eventually, but doesn't realize Crits is behind the generator. But maybe he knows. Tries for the jump, but the transfer's not good enough. Crits has it. And finally stops the bleeding. Lotus now guarantee a win in the first half.
Actually would have been better if the jump hadn't gone through. If you just drop there, the sound cue of the jump isn't given. That gives less time for the enemy player to react to it, and it makes sure that you can be accurate just a little bit faster rather than having that increased airtime. So it does go to Lotus there. Fate definitely making it a little bit close in the end, but 3-7 so far. 2 rounds left in this half. Still a lot of ultimates on the board, but for Fate, they don't have the guns in order to really stand up towards these rifles.
Well, not the guns, but maybe the info. That got a couple people. Flavor even pinged out of himself. put out that drone at Myth, though. He's up ahead. I'm not sure if he realizes he can dash on this Sova. They have no idea. So below also goes down, and Flavor peeks right on it. Doesn't expect someone also close. That's 2 picks immediately for Lotus again. It's happened again. It's another time, and Fosh even gets caught by the Vortex. There's only 1 trade so far, and it's a great headshot by That's Okay. Gun recovered, but even further of a deficit this time. They were in a 2 versus 3, and it was not doable. This time in a 2 versus 4, 1 getting aggressive. Clazy gets traded. That's all up to That's Okay once again. Now he's against 3, but this time he's got blades out. Spots out at least 1 inside of A main. Expects a second underneath him, but Otter peeks the perfect time. Smoke in hand for That's Okay. Secures Lotus the 8th.
Yeah, good by them to use the ultimates, understanding that they want to get as many rounds as possible. The only thing is they might not have it for the gun round now coming up. 3 to 8 in this round, and a lot of ultimates on the board. Everyone has, you know, rifles in their hands. Crit's actually buying up the operator. Interesting choice to put it on the Sky, but hey, maybe he's feeling it. Maybe he thinks he can get those initial picks and then maybe swap it out for a gun later.
Yeah, I respect that as well. And I know that Myth is actually, I'm not sure if he's buying guns, but he's swapping out between 2 rifles, so fair enough. But yeah, like you mentioned, maybe it's Crits that's feeling on it, but I respect it. And he's got a kill already up through Cat. Posh has been trying for those peaks round after round. This has not been working. Hunter's free now. I think from the defense of Sova up on the Cat, but he didn't end up hitting. He fired at 3 different locations, didn't land a single shot with that. Now, losing out on that ultimate, losing out on a pick, and even the Seekers hunting down That's Okay. But speaking of, that is okay. It's so below, is still below hell though. He's the one that actually gets picked. Flavor's been caught off by Clazy. What is that lurk? Cringy's still inside the site though, trying to get a kill, and Clazy doesn't expect a second, so trades back and forth. This is the closest round that Fate have had so far to be able to take in this first half. McRoy, though, with his teammate, Sova wants to leave. They don't want to end up taking this ace. Like, they know they've dragged all these rotations over, and both these defenders are wondering, questioning, where the heck are these attackers going to go next?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they heard the sound cues that they were evacuating A main, heading over towards that B, but they just want to, you know, stay on site, maybe wait and see if a double back comes through. Unfortunately for them, Lotus are just going to plant on B. 45 seconds is what the enemy team have in order to defuse that spike, and they're being a little bit slow with this retake. It's the last round, they have to go for it, but there's so much space that they have to now re-clear. They have to recheck mid to make sure that a flank isn't coming through. They're going to have to check through B main, and that leaves less time in order to actually defuse the spike.
Oh, that player back sight, he's baiting. They should know, right? They know that someone's at least pushed up, but the flash is so good, but they both walk past. The dash is not good enough to get out of the vortex though, and Otter is activating from their behinds, and he takes them both out. Don't even need the player baiting. The Astrid wasn't even required in that gunfight. 9-3 for Lotus, and I mean, deja vu, right? It's exactly the same that we had in the first map, 9-3, but this time it's the other way around. Lotus is up in the first half. This time they started on the defense, and now let's see how much they can do on the second half of the sets.
Now let's definitely see. I will say, you know, this is a really good spot to be in going into that second half, but I said that last map, and it was a good spot. They just weren't able to close the game out on Fate. I think Lotus has been having a couple similar problems in their own games as well. So let's see if they can close it out. Pistol round is going to be big here. If this pistol goes over to Lotus, they'll be pretty much at that 3-11 scoreline, and it gets even harder to come back from it.
And we'll see if Fate can end up cracking this defense. They're going to need a good start. Lotus did end up picking up the 2 pistols leading up the second half of Breeze, so very well done for that comeback. But Fate this time right into the A site. I mean, we've seen a Myth do this before, but the teammates are ready. They are so ready. A Myth's even got one. What happened? What just happened? All 4 kills. It happened so fast. That wasn't even real. That round never even existed in the playbook.
Yeah, so what happened was Fate, you know, they were stomping down catwalks, so many sound cues being given over that allowed for Lotus to basically get the information. Hey, let's rotate A. We hear so much happening towards mid, and the entire team comes through. The kills just go in the way of Lotus, and they end up with a flawless, very different from what we saw last map, and they're in the driver's seat here. Complete Spectres. It looks like Fate doesn't want to force into this, so they're going to be stuck really only with classics in their hand. And it's, you know, round started. Fate are still in their spawn.
Well, maybe reconsidering a couple things, reconsidering this round even, what the heck happened in the last one. They have to think about it for just a second, but a Myth, though, maybe they've chosen the right site. This is the stack with 3, but a Myth is the one with only a Sheriff, because once again, he wants to save for that Operator. Fair play. Now then the defense, probably a bit better with that. 5-man strong, though, is this push, and straight through the smoke. Otter gets one, dash on through, and the Myth is good enough for the turn, and even dashes away himself. Another one going through. Headshots landing all around, and Otter with 3. A Myth tagging along for the assist, and it's flawless for Lotus once again.
Yeah, back-to-back flawlesses are great for Lotus here. That means they can really secure their econ. They don't have to buy a single thing into this next round. I don't think even maybe only Amit's armor broke. Everyone else were still sitting at that cool 150 HP. So the economy is being built up. An absolutely great place to be if you are a fan of Lotus. And now the guns are being bought up from Fate. Now they have the Vandals. Now they have the Phantoms. They've got to use them to get the picks for themselves. Make sure they don't get crossfired as it feels like they have in just the first 2 rounds of this half.
Very wise by Crits as well, making his way all the way into that dog position. He's got that close range weapon and wants to take those very, very close fights. And speaking of close fights, I mean, the Myth, he's very close to a player right now. I'm not sure if they understand that he's right behind this wall on Tom bench, but so below. He gets immediately traded from that Cat player, and the Myth even lands a shot. Doesn't take any damage from Top Cat. This is so good right now for Lotus. 4 versus 4, so technically manpower in favor of Fate based on how this game works. Weak sights, strong attack, and Posh, yeah. He's already made his way all the way up, and they understand the fact that it is strong sights right now on the side of A, at least. I don't think that Lotus know that he's all the way back here. No, Otter gets caught off. Now they understand, but Amit looks back, and that's okay. Peaks at the perfect time. This should be a round win for Fate, so count 4 on the board just for now, and Crits ends up saving a rifle. I mean, it depends on whether they want to go for this or not. A loss is going to be fine for the economy of Lotus right now. But it looks like they do want to end up trying for a retake. Stars going down, smokes to cover the extremities, and no one's in that switch position. And Posh wants to get some info. Doesn't manage just anything, and Cringe even from the back gets both and cleans up. Doesn't even need the rest of the team to take some work off their hands. 4 rounds now for Fates.
Yeah, definitely a mistake from Lotus there to completely evacuate from B and not really recheck the angle. The timing was just too good for the Astra. Got pretty much complete site control that allowed the team to walk onto site for pretty much free, get the kills, as they had to watch way too many angles. And 411 Operator now bought up for Amit. He was so strong with it on last map with his aggressive opping on attack, especially on attack. So let's see how aggressive he goes here, peeking towards tiles. I think they might know or are a little bit wary of this, and they're trying to jiggle peek it, but no, so below goes 6 feet under into the dirt, and that's their entry frag pretty much wiped off the table for the side of Fate.
Yeah, entry frag again. Speaking of minus 400, the drone's been just taken out and nothing more. Otter, speaking of Sova as well, maybe wanting to put his own out, and there he goes, making sure Posh isn't pushing along and no one else is here with him. They know now he's a solo lurk, and the rest of these players likely either working up top Cat or outside of A, and there's not any information gathering outside this A main, which means they don't exactly have any assurance, but they're staying safe right now. No one wants to give anything up from the side of the defense, which is very, very smart. Keep that man advantage. Keep the solo lurk. Make sure she can't do anything. Just stay on the site. And speaking of not being able to do anything, I mean, Fate, they have no ins. The smoke goes down on that A main. They want to go back, take this spike all the way back to that lurk. But the Sova seems to have a good read, still staying in decent proximity of the Cypher. And the Cam should spot out Posh as well. Oh, he's waiting. The Cypher is waiting until he gets so deep. The call is out. The Sova is so ready, going up the stairs, and Posh finally should know, but they don't understand that it's the second player inside that B main. That's okay. Jumps over, and it's not good enough. Spike has now been dropped, and Flavor now up for the clutch, but a teammate not even transferring fast enough for Clazy, going straight through his own cage. Cringy in a 1 versus 4, 10 seconds is not winnable, but he needs to get as many kills as he possibly can. The flash goes out. They know he's here, but the wrong corner is checked. There should be no winning, and it's absolutely impossible. Mid gets the last kill, and Lotus on match points.
Yeah, definitely a little bit scary there. Clazy giving the correct recon on one player, but the camera angle wasn't spotting out the Jet. good for Classy to be able to kill the updrafting Jet
Not
at
enough
6
time to go into the
HP,
actual
still going
foe.
aggressive. Classy has some big confidence here, and now at
Hmm.
match point, they still have all the tools to really win out this round. Operator in Amit's hand now looking towards a main, which I feel like it's been a pretty
Let's
staple
go.
spot for the side of Fate to really attack. And the rest of his team has rifles. Only person on Fate who won't actually have a gun or a rifle is Posh in that Stinger scenario. And yeah, they know they're wary to try and peek this A main, peek pretty much anywhere because anywhere they go, an operator could be staring them down.
Enemy kill.
No way! Amit plays that so well, and yeah, like you mentioned, they were so afraid. They wanted to do everything they possibly could to drive this guy off, and it still doesn't work out. Otter with a jump, it shouldn't happen, and it doesn't. Posh does recover, but it's a 30 versus 4. Two entries for the side of Lotus, even off their defense. It's absolutely unreal. And it honestly looks like Fate is just falling apart at the seams, and nothing about the success they had in their attacking half of Breeze is showing right now. Absolutely nothing. Every single round they lost, which was only 3, by the way, on their attack side, it was when they defaulted. And now their morale is just broken. I don't know if his confidence is just at an all-time low, but look at this. Lotus, they're ending up pushing every single angle, and Fate, they are so scared. They don't want to go in at all. They know this camera is still up. They have to understand the cage popped as well, and maybe the trip's able to get some work done straight through the wall. You can't dash out of that this time. There's no more. Classy is so happy he can get that kill, and even the final wall bang on a Posh, and that's all over. Lotus with a 2-0. Such a dominant performance on the second map.
Yeah, Lotus here, they really you could see how they're really understanding how to play this map. They use aggression well on the attacking side to make sure that they're trading each other out whenever they execute on a site and catching the enemy team when they just really peaked one by one on the side of Fate. Looking at the scoreboard in and of itself, I think really shows that this map was a straight up team diff with
Mhm.
almost everyone. This scoreboard isn't like striated by the teams. Like this is the actual scoreboard, and pretty much everyone on the side of Lotus was at the top. The only person that broke through just a little bit is A-OK, but it was only by what, like 10 average combat score?
10, 11 to be exact. But yeah, that's nothing. That's like one kill maybe. If Roy had a bit more impact, like one frag, but you can't even ask that from an Aster, right? He's not supposed to be doing that. So it's just fine. Like you can't even blame Roy. And honestly, like you mentioned, it's a team diff and maybe even a mental diff at this point as well. Because we got to remember what happened in the last map, right? It was 9-3, just same thing. But that time on Breeze, 9-3 for Fate up. They get absolutely just beaten down round after round by Lotus. Coming into this onto Ascent, you gotta like they needed more than just that 5 minute break. They needed like I don't know a good 30 minutes of like death matching to get their mentals back in order because you could see maybe they started on defense. Yeah, they started on their unfavorable side, but still, when they got over to that attack, that's where we expected them to start showing up, expected them to start showing their gusto and just going for the fights, taking engages, being confident in their own aim. And that just didn't happen. They defaulted every single round. That final one, of course, we saw them spread across the entire map. And you're like, okay, maybe that's a smart way to play Valorant, right? And it usually is against like practice teams. Everyone has strats, everyone knows what they're doing. But when Fate default, we saw that in Breeze, and it replicated in this map. Lotus get aggressive, and they take the 1 versus 1 duels, and they win them all across the map. Not a single entry for Fate, and that was unfortunate, but that just shows Lotus, they're able to keep their head in the game. Even though going down 9-3, they're able to bring it all the way back on Breeze and sweep map number 2 of Ascent.
Yeah, definitely. And Fate, they're at 0-4 now after this best of three. And I think really what they need to do is take a little bit of a look at how they're playing. It feels like they're just so momentum based. When they're winning, they win hard. They're able to carry it through with the econ that they have, with the ultimates on the table. Flavor had an absolutely beautiful performance to give them those big round counts on map one. They just weren't able to close. Once they started losing, they just kept losing. And you saw it even on this map. Fate only got 4 rounds out of all the ones that they played, and 3 of those rounds were back to back. So they're
Mhm.
very momentum based team, and there's a bunch of things you can do to solve those momentum problems. Something like maybe when you start losing, the comms break down, the mental shifts a little bit. You got to have those barriers, like what, like 100 to use those fist bumps no matter what, stuff, something like that, in order to make sure that you can keep your mental up.
Yeah, honestly. So